America first. Tourists last. How tariffs, travel bans, and isolationism are quietly destroying U.S. tourism as the United States barrels ahead with its America first foreign policy agenda. Something alarming is happening just beneath the surface, something not caused by a war, a pandemic, or even a natural disaster. America's tourism industry, once one of the most powerful engines of its economy, is collapsing. Not with a bang, but in slow motion, quietly, systematically, almost deliberately. It's a decline that few are talking about, but its consequences are enormous. This year alone, the United States is expected to lose more than $12 billion in international tourism revenue. Nearly 10% of American tourism jobs could vanish. Hotels are empty. Airlines are cutting flights. And entire cities dependent on foreign visitors are seeing their economies unravel. But this isn't just about vacations, hotel rooms, or sightseeing. This is the real economic cost of tariffs, trade wars, and political isolationism. And it's a warning signal that should not be ignored. The numbers tell the story. Let's begin with the data. In 2019, just before the pandemic, international visitors spent over $230 billion inside the United States. That number plummeted during COVID, as expected. But while other countries have since recovered, rebounding stronger and more attractive than ever, America is falling behind. In 2025, global travel demand is surging. Airports in Europe are packed. Beaches in Southeast Asia are full. Hotel bookings in Latin America have soared. But in the United States, the opposite trend is underway. This year, international visitor spending in the U.S. is expected to fall below $169 billion, down from $181 billion last year. That's a $12 billion decline in just 12 months. And the problem isn't that people aren't traveling. They are. They're just not coming to America. So, what's happening? It's not the flights, it's the foreign policy. The collapse isn't about airfare, exchange rates, or weather. It's about perception. It's about policies. It's about how the rest of the world now views America and how unwelcome they feel. For many tourists, America now feels like a fortress, not a destination. Borders are tighter. Entry rules are harsher. Screening processes are longer and sometimes humiliating. And most of all, the diplomatic tone from Washington is more combative than inviting. One Dutch traveler summed it up bluntly. Why go to Trump's America? They don't want us there. And many feel the same. Across dozens of countries, travel advisories now warn against visiting the United States. Canada, Germany, China, Spain, France, and more have formally cautioned their citizens about traveling to the U.S. not because of terrorism or crime, but because of rising hostility, border unpredictability, and the fear of being turned away despite holding valid documents. And those warnings are working. Canada turns its back. Take Canada, America's closest neighbor, biggest trading partner, and historically the single largest source of foreign tourists, to the United States. In response to tariffs imposed by the Trump administration on Canadian steel, aluminum, and dairy, Canada launched a quiet campaign of economic retaliation. But it didn't just hit back with counter-tariffs. It told its citizens to stop vacationing in the U.S. Result? A nearly 20% drop in Canadian tourism to the United States, the steepest decline from any major country. And this isn't just symbolic. It's catastrophic. Canadians annually spend over $400 million in Los Angeles alone. Now, much of that money is staying north or going to Europe, Asia, and Latin America instead. Europe and China push back. Canada is not alone. Tourism from Mexico, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and Japan is also down sharply. Bookings from China have practically collapsed. Just a few years ago, millions of Chinese tourists were pouring billions into the U.S. economy. Today, that flow has slowed to a trickle. Why? Because China has formally warned its citizens against travel to America, citing political tensions, racism, and economic retaliation. European countries are doing the same, reacting to U.S. tariff hikes on EU steel and aluminum, even before travelers arrive at U.S. borders. The message is clear: you might not be welcome here. Spain and Germany have both updated their travel advisories to note that holding a visa does not guarantee entry into the United States. Canada's travel warning now explicitly mentions unpredictable border screening and increased likelihood of delays or detainment. For international travelers deciding between a relaxed vacation in Paris, Tokyo, or Barcelona, or a potential headache in New York, Chicago, or Miami, the choice is increasingly easy. They're choosing anywhere, but here the rise of border hostility. The Trump administration's efforts to tighten immigration policy haven't just affected asylum seekers or undocumented migrants. They've impacted everyone entering the U.S. visa. Processing times have doubled. Fingerprinting and security interviews are now routine for even short-term tourists. Tourists report being questioned about their political views, their religion, or their reasons for visiting. And more than ever, even valid visa holders are being denied entry without explanation. Birth tourism, where expectant mothers travel to the U.S. to give birth on American soil, has become another flashpoint. The U.S. government now aggressively screens pregnant travelers and has vowed to deny visas to those suspected of traveling for childbirth. The policy, while legal, has made headlines across Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America, further chilling travel plans. The message? You are not trusted. You are not wanted. And visitors are listening. The impact on airlines and cities: as the tourists vanish, so do the flights. Major European carriers like Lufthansa, British Airways, Air France, and Iberia are quietly cutting routes to use cities. Instead, they're shifting capacity toward destinations with rising demand: Southeast Asia, Latin America, the Middle East. Even U.S. carriers are feeling the pain. International load factors are dropping. Airlines are bracing for lighter summers and less profitable winters. The knock-on effects are serious. Aircraft parts cost more because of tariffs. Maintenance costs more. Logistics are snarled. Fuel surcharges are rising. The 10% baseline tariff on all imports, combined with much steeper rates on aircraft components, has made running an airline in America more expensive, just as demand is evaporating. In short, it's the worst of both worlds: higher costs and fewer passengers. Tourism is a jobs engine, and it's sputtering.